Welcome back to our show and thank you for joining us. If you're joining us right now, remember to follow us on our Facebook, Edel TV Halisi, and our YouTube channel, Edel 001. If you're just joining us right now, we are talking about courtship today. We've just looked at the difference between, we've just looked at what courtship is and what dating is. And we've just established that one fact there is that courtship is not physical. There's no physical intimacy, and it is intended for marriage. While dating is it can be physical. It can be accidental, like we were saying it. And then now looking at courtship and dating, looking at the physical aspect, tumeelewana kwamba kwa courtship you cannot go beyond the hug. Okay, but in dating there's sex involved.
Actually, in dating, people prefer sex to emotional attachment. So as funny enough, somebody can have sex with you yet they don't love you. Possibly.
And that is why probably we have these modern categories: friend with benefits, fuck buddies. Then there's something that might have just escaped us. We were talking about a situation where you can be courting one person and dating someone else.
It's possible. Now that today's men wana haraka ya mambo. So this lady, a lady you are courting, you may even recommend her for a marriage. If a friend came, anauliza, I want to marry. Between these four ladies, who do you recommend? Yule mwenye una date mwenye amjei lala na yeye, you can recommend that lady. Yet yule mwenye nini umekuwa na yeye, you deny that person. Utasema nini? This one no. This one, the best she can be to you is her girlfriend. There are ladies, you try to promote them from girlfriend to a wife. Unaharibu kila kitu, unamess kila kitu.
Oh, okay.
Other men, I don't know whether ladies you discern and you are able to know these are husband material, these are boyfriend mwenye naweza nini na yeye hivyo marodi show.
I think that's where we can categorically put it clearly kwamba kwa dating, na ndio maana watu wanaweza have sex in their first date. Mmekutana the first time, mmejuana hiyo siku, you go to bed, mnafanya whatever it is you want, mnaenda. Kesho kutwa mnakutana tena. So but kwa courtship the policy is no sex before marriage. And probably that is what the Bible upholds. That is why Jacob labored for 14 years for the just one particular woman that he loved.
Actually, in courtship, you give an account to the parents, to your mentor, and to God.
Yeah, and that is actually courtship. Na bado hujanijibu. Rachel alikuwa tu anangojea Jacob.
Rachel, of course, 14 good years.
Alikuwa tu anamngojea. Anyway, tutajua. Ulisema hiyo ni swali tutajibu
tukishaangalia the differences.
Tukishajua at the end of the program. Now, when you look at apart from the emotional, apart from the physical, dating iko na commitment. Courtship iko na commitment.
Courtship has a commitment because you've identified this person for a prospective life partner.
Yes.
But in dating, there's no commitment because you've met with this person. It may or not lead to a marriage. It may or not work.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, you don't give an account to anyone. You get somebody else, alafu mnaendelea na life.
So dating, mnaweza date na muoane, na mnaweza date na msioane. But end game, hakuna end game. Marriage haikwangi the end game. Lakini kwa courtship, commitment ni lazima. Kwa sababu end game ni marriage. Na hapo ndio tunaona in courtship honors the will of God. Because Mungu ndiye ali create marriage. Actually it is the only institutions, kwa institutions zote that we tunajipata, it is only marriage that God created. Shule na hizo vitu zingine ni sisi tumejiletea for reasons best well known to us. Lakini God ndiye create marriage.
Na institution haina mwalimu.
Haina mwalimu. Na kama ni God create marriage, inamaanisha marriage inafaa kumpea glory.
Yeah, sure.
And one way that marriage can give God glory ni kama courtship ilikuwa successful. Ndio maana nilikuwa nasema courtship inafaa kutransit into marriage as clean as possible. And in my opinion, maybe ile sexual encounter kuna vile huwa inattained a relationship.
Many times unapata kwamba ni even after you've had sex with somebody, you may end up hating that person more than the little love you had for that person.
Hapo kwa hating sijui kitu tu ninajua ni ati mnaweza kwa ushaiona beshte yako, unajua unaweza oa beshte yako. Lakini hapo katikati ya hiyo friendship mkajipata tu mmekuwa na sexual encounter, hiyo friendship huwa inaharibika. Si ni kweli? Ni kwa nini huwa hiyo friendship inaharibika? Yet mtu assuming mngeendelea tuna hiyo friendship mpaka mfike mahali mnaambiana wacha tukae pamoja kwa nyumba moja. It would have probably worked way better compared to na vile mlianza kuingiza hizo feelings zingine hapo katikati.
So I want to give an example from the Bible of David. David had one of his sons had a desire for the sister. So alipretend amekuwa mgonjwa na akasema yule ambaye anaweza niletea food nipone
ni dadangu Tamara.
Na alipomletea chakula alimrape. That's rape, eh?
Ni rape.
Yeah. Alafu after raping her
akamchukia. Akamchukia
zaidi ya
chuki. Meaning kuna vile hiyo sexual encounter ina taint a relationship. So basically courtship iko na commitment na commitment ni marriage. Alafu dating ndio hiyo iko na adventures.
Yeah.
Ndio hiyo mnaenda mountain climbing, mnakulania huko. Mnaenda sijui skiing, mnajipata in other exactly. But in dating, because there's commitment and there is honoring God, you are accountable. Unajua by the accountability ni poa. As long as you are being accountable to your parents, you're being accountable. Unajua kitu anything iki happen, kuna mtu utafaa kujibu maswali. Yeah. So what is the difference between courting and dating? The outright ile hii iko hapa na hii iko hapa. So courting iko hapa, dating iko hapa. What is the outright deal?
One, in a courtship we have emotional attachment. Whereas in courtship we have
in dating.
Yeah, in dating we have physical attachment.
Things can be casual.
Yeah.
But in dating, in courtship, you are investing emotionally.
Yeah.
Something else would be kwa courtship there's a guarantee to marriage.
Yeah.
Ndio maana hata mnajuana. Ukumbuke tulisema courtship is very deliberate, courtship is very intentional, and therefore it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Ni choice. As a result unajua nina promise huyu mtu marriage.
Yeah.
So hii safari tunaenda tunajuana kwa sababu tunajua destination. Lakini kwa dating mnaweza oana au mkose kuoana. Hakuna mtu amepromise mwingine kuoana. Yeah. Maybe another difference would be in courtship sex is preserved for marriage. Then in dating you can have regular sex as many times as you want. Na hakuna maswali, hakuna majibu. There's But if you're just having sex without any commitment, without any promises, si hapo ndio huwa unasema mimi.
So akikuja baadaye akwambie ile sex tulihave nina mimba.
Si unamwambia mimi sikukuwa nimekuambia upate mimba.
Hiyo mimba inakuwa ya nani?
Wewe jipange. Yeah, fine, but that's how men usually talk. I'm just imitating what the men do. Okay, not that it has happened to me. You're looking like at me
No,
like
no.
it has happened. But sivyo ndivyo huwa wanasema. And basically, I think courtship ilikuwa ina prevent hiyo. Ndio maana hakuna hiyo sexual intimacy. Kwa sababu ina prevent hiyo childbearing before marriage. Sindio? I think one day in this segment we should be talking about, is it right or wrong? Is it right or wrong?
Kuna fungu nitakupa hiyo siku la kusema kwamba mtoto amezaliwa out of wedlock haendi mbinguni.
Haya.
That's for another day.
Because courtship seeks accountability to everyone, all the stakeholders. Na unajua marriage, watu wengi wanasahau, especially in the modern life, and this is also something we'll talk about in our segments. Marriage iko na stakeholders. Wazazi, you know, ushajiuliza ni kwa nini de unaoa ama unaolewa wewe uona sura zenye hata hujaiona kwa life yako.
Hata maanti wale ambao unasikia
unasikia tu kuna aunties. Ushajiuliza ni kwa nini watu strangers hutokea?
Kwa sababu in case of anything
you have someone to hold accountable. You can easily tell them mliona kwa nini hamkunikataza. I think that's also should form part of.
But in dating there is no accountability.
In dating there is no accountability. Whom are you being accountable to? Tulikutana na wewe huko town. Tukaenda tukakula chips. Tukatoka hapo tukaproceed. Who are you accountable to? No one knows your existence.
Perhaps
but you see
the chips.
Ni chips tu na ukuta na viti mlikalia ndio wanajua. But in courtship there is your accountability. You're accountable to the parents. You're accountable to yourself, both of you. You're accountable to God. You know.
Now the big question is the modern weddings that we have.
Yes.
As they are being arranged, do people court ama wana
date
alafu wanafanya
wedding?
Because we've had weddings penye nini kwamba hawa wamefanya harusi 3rd month after harusi
people have gone their separate ways.
No, kuna matokeo mtoto amezaliwa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, huyu mtoto alikreatiwa lini? There's
something I read somewhere some time back that a wedding is a public advertisement of two people who've been sleeping together who are now coming to say Jijazie. So yeah, it's just something I read some time back, and now talking about this it makes me realize, really, does it mean tunatenda dhambi mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu when we date, get pregnant before marriage, alafu tunakimbia tunaharakisha? By the way, I think why do we wear white dresses during a wedding? Prepare to give me that answer, because it has a long answer. And it needs a very long response. And when you look at the Bible, when you start talking about purity, all these things zinaanzia kwa courtship. Courtship, that is why I was talking about as clean as possible. Courtship preserves the purity of a relationship. Now, the courtship rules, just we go about them very fast. You can only court one person at a time.
Before you go to the rules on the courtship, I think if you give them rules, wana maswali hapa hivi wanataka kuuliza. That's our viewers.
Oh.
Yeah, ni vile hatujawapea nafasi waulize maswali, but they would ask
yes,
the questions given a chance. On love, is love emotional attachment or a physical attachment?
Alafu hivyo tu vile umeuliza hapo shikilia tu hapo. Time unasema ati saa zile mme have sex, the relationship inakuwa strong. Is that love
or infatuation?
Or
does it become strong?
I don't know, but that's what we say. Ati unajua tukifanya ndio ita get better, hata tutakuwa. Oh, that reminds me. And I think in our very many conversations I've had to ask, is having sex a mark that now this relationship has begun, or this courtship has begun, or this dating has begun? Do you become my man by we having sex? Do I become your woman by we having sex? And at that point, are we dating for marriage? Are we courting for marriage? Having seen the difference, we already know that kwa dating hakuna guarantee ya marriage.
Yeah. Kwa
courtship kuna guarantee ya marriage. Na ukumbuke tumeambiana tunataka kuoana.
Yeah.
In the same breath, tukihave sex ndio itakuwa we'll be more into each other.
What does sex do?
Mi sijui. I'm only asking. And in the process of asking, tunarudi hapo kwako. Is love physical or emotional?
Yeah, you can be sure to get more insights into family life sessions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us today.
Have a lovely evening.
Ndiye mwanzo